Good morning.
Good
It's
morning.
Monday again already.
Yay. Whew.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I know people here some of the people in the Northwest is spring break for many people. So
Yeah.
just in a space of kind of
Mhm.
quietness in our household. How about you, Mayo?
We just finished spring break, so I'm like back to the routine.
You're back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I will say, like I have come to appreciate over this last year. I've been cultivating my relationship with routine
Mm.
and the sort of spacious structure that it can bring. And I'm happy to say that I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to be back in the routine, actually.
Well, yeah, there's I after taking vacation, I remember this from last summer. It's like, oh, now it comes back to the structure that serves.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see if that I'm gonna share screen here.
Okay.
And let's see, and sustaining creativity, what structures might come up. We'll see if that blends into this conversation today.
Let's see.
Oh, we're starting to get some
mountain tops. Yeah.
We've chatted about this one before.
Oh, that's interesting because we've had the lion's mane.
I know. Sometimes these get a little quirky and you have to reset them. So I have to jigger them a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm cool with that. So mountaintops, funny enough. I hiked one last weekend or this Saturday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
yes, you were saying.
So some women, there's this Northwest Alpine hiking group, and so shout out to any of those ladies who might be watching this. We hiked to Mount Si, on the top of Mount Si here in North Bend, and it's about 3,100 feet up or whatever, over 3.5 miles. So you're gaining quite a bit of elevation, and just like step after step. This morning and yesterday, my calves were like screaming at me. They're like, what did you just do? But it felt really good. There's all sorts of weather patterns. We had sun, we had hail, we had snow, we had rain, we had wind. It was all of it. And then when it comes to creativity, it's like, how many elements could we get in that experience of hiking? There was so many. What I really appreciated was the lack of thoughts going through my head during this hike, because I was fully present, just really being grounded in where I was at, being in nature, noticing what was around me, rather than thinking ahead or thinking in the past. I was in the present. And so that was really supportive of me this week.
Yeah. Love that. I love, like, even as you're talking about it, there's this sense of spaciousness that I'm sensing.
Yeah. It really opened up, and then there was permission to rest afterwards. Just didn't need to be anywhere, do anything, and got to relax.
Yeah. And that, like, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking I had my own version of, like, what's coming to mind for me is like peak experiences, and then sort of how they can be nourishing, how they can sustain creativity. I know that I have a huge need for peak experiences, maybe more than the average person. And this weekend I took my daughter and her friend to a concert. It was their first, they're 13, and it was their first like concert in like the Moore Theater. We went to see Conan Gray, and it was amazing. And it was so juicy to be in this environment where you're completely present, just like you with hiking. Everyone in this or most people in this theater, they were just right there. They weren't thinking about anything else other than the show that was happening and the music they were singing. And I kept looking over at the girls, and they were just like you know,
ecstatic.
They were just ecstatic. And then
Mhm.
afterwards they were saying, this was like the best night of my life. And I felt my own sort of, even, you know, even though it wasn't necessarily music that would normally super like turn me on, the show was amazing. And he was like, if I wasn't a fan before, I'm a fan now.
Yeah.
Because I so appreciated his performanceship
His
and
presence, like he's
yes,
fully into it. Like
yeah,
those concerts, I miss a good concert. I've not been to one for a really long time, and I love them. And for my
yeah,
sensory system, they tend to be, I can not a, other than a concert, I can get a little bit like frazzled.
mhm.
But when it comes to a music concert, it's like the energy, the vibe, all of that
Oh
just
yeah.
comes in.
And you can move it through just like you were hiking, like that peak
Yeah.
experience is it's the embodiment, I think, that often brings us the presence. And so um that's definitely what it was for me too. Like as when I can move, even though I was like filming for the girls because I wanted them to actually be present and to not be
Mhm.
filming. So I was on cameraman duty.
I love
It's hilarious.
it.
But it also made me realize how I don't like being distracted in situations like that because the juice comes from being
Mhm.
present. Um, anyways, it was awesome, and it was such a great reminder of how filled up I can get from those like presence
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. I As I start thinking about it, that mountaintop feeling, I'm actually life needs to actually have lots of that, which part of coaching brings that for me. My like yoga dance movement practice brings that. Like,
Travel.
yeah, my I'm definitely wired for that type of experience more than anything else, I
Well,
think.
yeah,
I need it like desperately.
as you're saying that, I was imagining it's like it's almost harder to be present when there isn't some sort of mountaintop experience happening. So it's
Mhm,
how does one cultivate
mhm.
being present when
Yeah,
those type of experiences are not being created?
yeah, absolutely.
And that's the harder practice for me, is
Yeah,
being fully present in non-peak moments,
yeah,
because there's a
yeah.
restlessness underneath all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think not I don't think it's like that for everyone, you know?
Correct. Yeah.
I think we all have different brains, but I can certainly relate to what you're saying.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, I will say I think for my ADHD brain, I am always looking for a place to focus, whether it's active relaxation or it's immersion into whatever I'm doing,
Hmm.
because that's actually the most peaceful place
Mm.
for me to be, is to be super focused.
Yeah.
But it has to it only comes about through certain conditions. It can't be an arbitrary, it has to come from inside, and you know, just that whole motivational conversation. But
Right. Like, just like,
yeah,
okay, Maori, be present right now. Like it,
yeah,
that kind of contract, it like there has to be a creating of the container
yeah,
to be present.
yeah, I think a container. And I think well, this gets into like sort of a conversation around motivation and what gets our brain turned on. And we all have different things, but specifically for more neurodiverse folks, there's, you know, the um, it's often has something to do with either creativity or play or
Mm.
something like that, or some novelty, or you know, some inherent interest, or you know, there's a bunch of different motivators or things that tend to pull our brain into sort of that chemistry to turn on.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Oh, I just, yeah, you're just reminding me of things I was doing this weekend that got me into that state. I won't go into details because we'll probably share it on another episode.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's how do we get activated to step into that energy of
Yeah.
being motivated?
Yeah. And being turned on. Like I
Turned on.
love the phrase turn on because it's just so truly what it is, which is turned on, not necessarily sexually, but but turned on
Focus,
internally.
energy, like motivated to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the wind at your back, you know?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Mountaintops, peak experiences. I'm curious to the folks that are listening, like, what are some peak experiences that have really nourished your creativity? Or that, or how do you have an abundance or a lack of peak experience, in its big or small form? And how can we use peak experience to help nourish us and to make it work for us, you know, as a tool?
And how can we create this, cultivate this in Italy next year or this summer? Sorry.
We'll go next year too, but this summer first.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe both and both. So I know travel for me curates those peak experiences. And that's what we're inviting folks into, is coming with us to Italy, creating a mountaintop experience, an Umbrian, hilltop. It doesn't have to be filled with snow. It's going to be filled with lots of sun and great company. And we're inviting folks into that experience.
Yeah. And what's coming to mind for me is, like, that whole journey of going there and having this sort of immersive experience itself is this incredibly powerful container to juice up our whole being, particularly our creativity. And that it's, so come with us. Come join us.
And we have a Q&A tomorrow is the 12th. At 4:30 in the afternoon Pacific time. So if you have questions about it, let us know. We'll be happy to hold space and answer it.
Yes.
All of them. So we will see you soon.
Okie dokie.